If you're a Toronto Blue Jays fan, how could you not smile at yesterday's game? The Jays offense finally exploded, and Alek Manoah made his first start since being demoted to the minor leagues. He wasn't perfect. He doesn't have his best stuff just yet, but he got through 6 innings with 8 strikeouts and did not walk a single batter, and I was just so happy to see him smiling out there. So we'll break down his performance and much more in this episode of Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Gosse. Now, Nick, it felt amazing to see Alek Manoah back yesterday and back to some semblance of his old self. He's still got to iron some things out. He's still got to keep working and not be satisfied with this one performance. But man, his energy just rubs off on the whole team when he's going right and made a huge impact last night.
Yeah, so nice to see him back, especially after everyone was hating on him for a while. He was doing so bad. Again, it is
Mhm.
against a Detroit Tigers team that is very very weak offensively, but in general, a very very good start. And let's just get right into it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. And before we get into the box score, we'll touch on Manoah some more and some of the stuff he said after the game regarding his demotion and how it took for him to come back. And he said, "It's been a little while. I've been waiting for this outing for a long time. It feels good. I'm excited about the strides I've made, and I'm looking forward to continuing to build." And Peter, before I show some more quotes, what did you see out of
Mhm.
him that impressed you? His energy was obviously the big thing. The whole team was feeding off him. Of course, the whole team wants him to do well, wants him to stay in the majors, and he did so good yesterday.
Obviously, the command is the best that we've seen all season long, and he didn't walk a single batter. He's still got into a few deep counts, and he started off the game a little bit rough there. He in that first inning he threw 23 pitches, so it wasn't exactly a flawless outing, but this is just a great step in the right direction. And I saw a lot of conversations on Twitter saying that his slider, it's not where it needs to be. It's not breaking as much as it used to. But I'll tell you what, in that sixth and final inning, he threw his best sliders of the night with over 15 inches of horizontal break, which is just a little bit less than what he had in his dominant season last year. But what I got to say to those people is just he doesn't have to be that guy. He doesn't have to be the 2022 Alek Manoah for the Jays to be successful this year. He's just got to be startable, because before his demotion, he was not someone that you could run out there every fifth day because he was costing you games. But now, if he can give you 4 or 5, maybe 6 innings on occasion and give up a couple of runs and not walk the ballpark, then that's all you're going to ask for. The major changes, the major overhaul for Alek Manoah is going to have to come in the offseason. He's going to have to
Yeah.
get into better conditioning in the offseason. He's going to have to figure out a better game plan and try to get back to what he used to be, but that doesn't happen over the course of a year or over the course of a season. It happens in the off season when the games are done. So that's what I'm looking for Manoah. But if he can be startable in these next few months, I'm all for it, man.
Yeah, and I'm sure Ross Atkins would be and the team would be very, very happy with, like you said, 5 innings, 3 runs, 6 innings, 3 runs, just to avoid bullpen days. And we spoke about this before.
Hmm.
There's no better option on the trade deadline, really, besides, a couple guys that would take a lot of assets, or in the minor leagues or in the free agency pool, than Alek Manoah would be right now for the Blue Jays. And he showed that today, and he continued to talk about it, saying the day that he got, sent down, that was a very tough day for me. I feel like you've done a ton to earn where, he's gotten to have that taken away from you. You're going to hate a lot of things. So you can do two things: lay down or you can fight. And this is the final quote here that Thomas Hall pointed out: one pitch at a time, one work at a time. Day one, day two, day three, day four. Just focus on the task at hand and let everything else fall into place. And he seemed pretty comfortable on the mound. He seemed excited to be back. And like you said, he didn't try to force it. He didn't walk anyone, which is much different than what we were seeing before. Like you said, his slider is not exactly where it needs to be yet, but I don't even think it needs to be this season. He can, like you said, work in the offseason to get his full movement back. But I saw a lot more promising things in this start than I did at really any of his other
Right.
starts, besides maybe his second start of the season when he went 7 innings. But overall, a phenomenal day for him and a phenomenal day for the Jays. And
Mhm.
any other thoughts before we get into the box score for the game?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that shows you he's heading in the right direction, Nick, is all those fastballs that he was able to locate to his glove side. He wasn't able to do that all year long, and he was always constantly missing to the arm side, and he was not finishing his pitches. He looked a lot more explosive today, or yesterday. Sorry, the velocity wasn't necessarily any higher than it was before his demotion, but the location was pinpoint, and you could tell that he was really emphasizing that in his delivery, and I was just so happy to see him back. You don't need him to be perfect, you just need him to be serviceable. And there's no better deadline acquisition for the Blue Jays than having Alek Manoah back and ready to pitch every fifth day, which is great.
Yeah, he did phenomenal. In case you missed the game, let's get into it right now. You can look at the box score here, pause it. Whit Merrifield hit another home run. He's having a crazy hot stretch. Deserving all-star, it seems like. Kevin Kiermaier was on fire. Peter, anyone out of the hitting crew that stood out to you? It seemed like they wanted to get some runs on the board from Manoah, and they absolutely did that. And George Springer stays hot as well. And Bo Bichette, I can rant about all day.
Yeah, well, Nick, we were texting about it during the game. I mean, George Springer is starting to find his stroke there at the top of the lineup, and he's been hitting that ball hard. He hit that missile of a home run off the left field foul pole, and we're both going crazy when that happened. And it's great to see all these guys start to find their swings, and you needed a game like this. And if this was ever going to be a breakout game, it was the one today because Alek Manoah was on the mound. You weren't sure what you were going to expect out of him. So you needed to give him some runs, get him some confidence, and that allowed him to pitch his game and to stay in it and to stay focused. So I was very happy with what I saw. Are they a perfect team? No. Do they still need to change some things? Yes. But if you're a Blue Jays fan and you were watching yesterday's game, just get rid of all the negativity just for one day and enjoy what you witnessed last night because it was phenomenal. It was the happiest I've been as a Jays fan in probably months. It was one of the best games I've seen from them all year long.
Yeah, especially them, riding the momentum of the sweep against the White Sox coming in to Detroit. Alek Manoah's huge start, and he ultimately did it. And let's get into the box score for them. Alek Manoah went 6 innings, like you said, 5 hits, 1 run, 0 walks is the big thing here, and a strikeout. Mitchell White, funny, most people call him Mitch White, but Mitchell White went 1 2/3, gave up 2 hits and a run there. And Bowden Francis. And again, this is so key. You see the 3 guys used in this game. Of course, it was a blowout, but this is a day that would have been a bullpen day in which most of your good guys, even your leverage guys, would have been used. Trevor Richards, Romano Swanson. But instead, you have Alek Manoah go out there, and you get to use guys like Mitch White and Bowden Francis, who are really on the team for this job to eat some innings. And very, very important, especially going into today's game with Kevin Gausman on the hill. The Jays can keep rolling and win their 5th in a row. The Yankees lost yesterday. The Astros lost yesterday. We're now up a game in the playoff spot. I know it's early to talk about that, but just 3 days ago, we were 2 games back, or 4 days ago, we were 2 games back, and everything seemed, bad. But we're taking care of business against the not division rivals and against the weaker teams, which is exactly what you need to do for now. And I think if they get hot, they can beat any AL East team.
Yeah, and the thing that we see with the Toronto Blue Jays when they do go on these stretches here, they're winning games by more than 1 run, and they're giving those bullpen arms a break. So then you're heading into series, and you're heading after the All-Star break with your guys fully fresh. And even though they've had a lot of appearances, they've had 4 or 5 days off at a time, which really helps them. And Kevin Gausman has an opportunity to go deep into this ball game today and give those guys a chance to have an extra day of rest. I think Swanson hasn't pitched in 2 days. You didn't have to use Jordan Romano yesterday. And this is what we've been calling for, this offense to break out, to give the pitching staff some breathing room. You can't win 5-4 every night. And that's what they did yesterday. They scored 12 runs. Alek Manoah took care of business, and then you were able to see it through with your guys that probably don't pitch at high leverage in Mitch White and Bowden Francis. So it was great to see. This was a perfect game, a game that was badly needed for the Toronto Blue Jays, and just made me so happy. I was smiling from ear to ear last night, Nick.
Yeah, and this was, we need to finish the series in fashion before the All-Star break. Win today, win tomorrow, and make some breathing room there in the wild card race. So with that, I'll wrap up the video. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.